Yeah. Thanks to both of you for, sharing some pretty personal stories. Alana, I want to piggyback off what you just said with your dementia. Thank you for bringing that up. Something I think I see a lot, because we have a lot of clients that are, mid 60s, which means they are in many cases taking care of their parents or their grandparents who are in their 80s and 90s. And it could be dementia, it could be general disability. But I think something not a lot of people focus on is your mental health when you are a caregiver. And I have seen so many people spiral into very bad mental and physical states because they refuse to take care of themselves while they are being a caregiver for somebody else. How do you, when you're a caregiver, establish boundaries with your caregiving? What are some key factors and things you want to do to tell a caregiver, hey, you also have to take care of yourself, even though you're taking care of this person who literally can't take care of themselves?
Well, I think you said part of it. You have to set boundaries. Just because you're a caregiver doesn't mean that you're the 24/7 caregiver, right? So you have to know what your limits are.
Yes.
If you really only have the mental capacity to be that caregiver for 4 hours, acknowledge that, accept that, and seek out the help that you need to fill the gap. Because yes, you want to help this person, but you're not actually helping them or yourself.
Right.
Like, it is known by that person being cared for that, like, you're resentful, that, like, you dislike them right now because they took over your whole life. So you really have to be honest with yourself. What are you capable of in this situation? And if you're not capable of being a caretaker, don't feel guilty about that. Some people just can't, and that's okay. It's just being able to accept that and not feeling like guilty and being roped into something that, like, you truly cannot do. That's part of it.
I think Elena summed it all up, but the most important thing is we can't be a caretaker or take care of someone else if we can't take care of ourselves. And realizing that when we don't prioritize ourselves, it does impact everyone else. It impacts every other role. So caretakers are typically in the caretaking role. They may still be parents and parenting their own children. They might be community involved individuals. They might be still employed for themselves. They probably have a partner or friends or additional family. It impacts every role if they don't take care of themselves. So the need to really prioritize, set boundaries, understand their own needs, what they can and cannot do, and make their own health important just as much as everyone else that they are caretaking for, because not just the sick individuals. They probably play a caretaking role in many lives, and making that important. Because again, the saying is if you're not okay, then you're like everyone else is not okay, and that's just doing an injustice for themselves and everyone else, and kind of going against the point, like, I want to be a good caretaker, and by not taking care of myself, I can't be a good caretaker. Kind of makes no sense.
And, like, therapy is so accessible now that it's not like, oh my gosh, I can't set aside 2 hours to drive somewhere, have a session, come back. Like, who's going to take care of my person over here? It's so accessible now that, like, you can say, hey, can you just sit and watch TV for an hour? And if you need me, buzz me. Like, you got the buzzer thing. I'm going to go be in my room having this session. It's so great that this is something that we can offer people that are in caretaking roles that felt like before they were a prison of the house they were in and they couldn't really take care of themselves.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, they're great points. I love that you're bringing up the accessibility point, but kind of to the whole social media point of there's pros and cons to, this accessibility. I know from my own experience before I was lucky enough to meet Alicia that there are a lot of, I want to say, shady is a strong word, less than ideal services. I was dealing with one, it's a big, national one. I'm not going to say the name just because I don't want like a defamation lawsuit, but it was basically not through insurance. You paid a flat fee. Every single influencer is running the same ad of like, I had to focus on my mental health. And I ended up having like a very bad therapist. So I guess this kind of segues into